Domesticus. Ecce aqua benedicta, sit nobis salus et vita, in nomine Patris et Filius Spiritus Sancti. Omnipotentis Dei misericordiam Patris carissimi, supplices exoremus, ut sanctorum omnium intercessione promotus. Ecclesi sui vocem benignos exaudiat, pro Patre nostro. Padre, venga those who are sick, those who are infested, those who are possessed, and those who are having strong temptation. Qui gravi necessitati fremit, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Sancta Maria Mater Dei, Sancti Michaela Gabriele Trapel, omnis sancti angeli Dei, Sancti Elia, Sancti Ioannis Baptista, Sancti Joseph.
Welcome back, everybody. My name's Ricky. This is Brendan. Together we're ETFW. And in this episode of The Library, we're going to be covering the true story behind the Annabelle Doll. Now, a bit of a trend going on with our library episodes, the last one being the life and death of Ed Lorraine Warren, and this one being the Annabelle Doll. With the new Conjuring movie coming out this year, we thought we'd go over some of the most notable investigations from the Warrens and give you guys a bit of the backstory and what's kind of documented and what's known. So with that said, we're going to jump into the video. We do hope you guys enjoy these style of videos we're putting out. And with that said, let's get into it.
So everyone knows the Annabelle Doll, or at least has heard of it. Some may have read about the story, or at least seen the movies themselves. What a lot of people aren't aware of is that the movies themselves aren't actually quite accurate as to the true story behind it. The Annabelle Doll, at least documented history of it, never actually appeared until 1970. Now in 1970, our mother purchased an antique Raggedy Ann doll from a hobby store. The doll was a birthday present for her daughter Donna. Donna was preparing to graduate from college with a nursing degree, and she lived in a tiny apartment with her roommate Angie. Now Donna placed it in her bed as a decoration and didn't give it a second thought. Within days, both Donna and Angie noticed that there appeared to be something very strange, very odd, creepy about the doll. Now the doll itself mysteriously seemed to move around the house. Relatively small movements at first, such as a change of position, but as time passed, the movement became more noticeable. Now Donna and Angie would come home to find the doll in a completely different room. Sometimes the doll would be found with its legs crossed and its arms folded. Now several times Donna sometimes left the doll on the couch before leaving for work and would return to find the doll back in her room on the bed with the door closed. So the doll itself would actually move while they're not home, while no one was home in a small apartment.
Now, as Brendan said, the doll could not only move, but apparently could also write as well. Now, it wasn't until about a month into the experience where Donna and Angie began to find messages on parchment paper that read words such as "help us" or "help Lou." Now, this raised concern for Donna and Angie, as Lou was friends with both of them and who would often visit the apartment from day to day, and who's actually spent a fair bit of time there. Now, the handwriting appeared to be as if it was written by a small child, and the creepy part about the messages wasn't exactly the wording, but more or less the way they were actually written. At the time, Donna never even kept parchment paper within the home, which raised massive concerns for her. So where did the messages come from?
Now, as Rick mentioned, Lou was a good friend of the two girls, and he actually gave an account on some of the things that he experienced and he saw in the apartment and in relation to the doll itself. Now, he'd been with them since the doll had arrived, and he'd never been too fond of the doll, and on several occasions warned Donna that it was evil and to get rid of it. Now, Donna had a compassionate tie to the doll, especially considering it was a gift, and she didn't want to give too much credence to Lou's feelings, so she kept it. Now, Donna's decision, as it would turn out, was a terrible mistake. Now, Lou awoke one night from a deep sleep and in panic, one of the times that he stayed with the two girls in their apartment. Once again, he had a reoccurring bad dream, only this time somehow, something seemed different. It was as though he had awoken but couldn't move. And he looked around the room but couldn't discern anything out of the ordinary. And then it happened. Looking down towards his feet, he saw the doll, Annabelle. It began to slowly glide up his legs. moved over his chest, and then stopped. Within seconds, the doll was strangling him, paralyzed and grasping for breath. Lou, at the point of asphyxiation, blacked out. Now Lou awoke the next morning, certain that it wasn't a dream. He was determined to rid himself of that doll and the spirit that possessed it. Lou, however, would have one more terrifying experience with Annabelle. Now, preparing for a road trip the next day, Lou and Angie were reading over the maps alone in their apartment. The apartment seemed eerily quiet. Suddenly, rustling sounds coming from Donna's room aroused the fear that someone had possibly broken into the small apartment. Now, Lou, determined to figure out who or what it was, quietly made his way to the bedroom door. He waited for the noises to stop before entering and turning on the light. The room was empty except for Annabelle, who seemed to have been tossed to the floor in the corner of the room. Now, Lou scoured the room for forced entry, but nothing was out of the ordinary, nothing was out of place. But as he got close to the doll, he got the distinct impression that somebody was behind him. And he spinned round quickly to realize that nobody else was there. Then in a flash, he found himself grabbing for his chest, doubled over, cut and bleeding. His shirt was stained with blood, and upon opening his shirt, there on his chest was what looked to be 7 distinct claw marks, 3 vertically, 4 horizontal. All were hot like burns. However, these scratches healed almost immediately, half gone the next day, and then fully gone by 2.
Now, following up from the event where Lou had the scratches across his chest, one night Donna came home to find the doll had moved again. This time, it was on her bed. Donna had come to find that this was typical of the doll, but somehow she knew that this time it was different. Something wasn't right. A sense of fear came over her. When she inspected the doll, she saw what looked like to be drops of blood on the back of its hands and chest, seemingly from out of nowhere. Scared and desperate, Donna and Angie decided it was time to seek expert advice. Not knowing where to turn, they contacted a medium, and a seance was held. Donna was then introduced to the spirit of Annabelle Higgins. The medium related the story of Annabelle to both Donna and Angie. So Annabelle was a young girl who actually resided on the property before the apartments were built. According to the medium, there were happy times. She was a young girl of only 7 years old when her lifeless body was found upon the field in which the apartment complex now stands. Now, the spirit of Annabelle related to the medium that she actually found some comfort with Donna and Angie and actually wanted to stay with them and to be loved. Feeling compassion for Annabelle and her story, Donna gave her permission to inhibit the doll and stay with them. They were soon to find out, however, that Annabelle was not what she appeared to be. This was no ordinary case, and this is definitely no ordinary doll.
Now, following from the visit from the medium and finding out about the spirit of Annabelle, things started to get worse and spiral out of control. The girls were starting to get a lot more concerned about what was happening. And it was at this point that Donna finally felt that she needed to seek expert advice from an Episcopal priest by the name of Father Hegan. Now, Father Hegan felt it was a spiritual matter, and he believed that he needed to contact a higher authority in the church. So he actually contacted another father, Father Cook, who immediately contacted the Warrens, and that's where their introduction to this story kind of begins. Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they immediately took interest in the case, and they contacted Donna concerning the doll. Now, the Warrens, after speaking with Donna, Angie, and Lou, came to the immediate conclusion that the doll itself was not in fact possessed, but manipulated by an inhuman presence. Now, for those of you who don't know, spirits do not possess inanimate objects like houses or toys. What they do possess is people. And an inhuman spirit can attach itself to a place or an object. And this is what occurred in the Annabelle case. This spirit manipulated the doll and created the illusion of it being alive in order to get recognition. Now, truly, the spirit was not looking to stay attached to the doll. It was looking to possess a human host, like one of the girls. Now, the spirit, or in this case, an inhuman demonic spirit, was essentially in the infestation stage of the phenomenon. It first began moving the doll around the apartment by means of teleportation to arouse the occupants' curiosity in hopes that they would give it recognition. Then, predictably, the mistake of bringing a medium into the apartment to communicate with it. Now, the inhuman spirit, now able to communicate through the medium, preyed on the girl's emotional vulnerabilities by pretending to be a rather lost young girl, with which during the visit from the medium was allowed permission from Donna to haunt the apartment. The demonic spirit then set about causing negative events to occur. It aroused fear through the weird movements of that doll. It brought about the materialization of disturbing handwritten notes and symbolic drops of blood on the doll. And ultimately, it even attacked Lou, leaving behind those symbolic marks of the beast. The next stage of infestation would have been complete human possession. Had these experiences lasted another 2 or 3 weeks, the spirit would have completely possessed, if not harmed or killed, one of the occupants in the house. Now, at the conclusion of the investigation, the Warrens felt that it was appropriate to have a recitation of an exorcism blessing by Father Cook to cleanse the apartment. Now, the episcopal blessing of the home is a wordy 7-page document that is distinctively positive in nature. Rather than specifically expelling evil entities from the dwelling, the emphasis is instead directed toward filling the home with the power of the positive and of God. Now, at Donna's request, and as a further precaution against the evil phenomenon ever occurring in the home again, the Warrens took Annabelle with them when they left.
Now, following the conclusion of the exorcism, upon leaving, Ed placed the Annabelle doll in the back seat of their car. He agreed with Lorraine that they wouldn't take the interstate home in the event the inhuman spirit still resided within the doll. Now, Ed's suspicions were all too correct. The Warrens felt themselves as the object of a vicious hatred. Then, at each dangerous curve upon their travels, the car swerved and stalled with every corner, causing the power steering and brakes to suddenly fail. Repeatedly, the car verged on collision. Ed reached into the back seat, and in his bag he took out a vial of holy water and doused the doll, making the sign of the cross over it. The disturbances stopped immediately, and the Warrens arrived safely home. After the Warrens arrived home, Ed sat the doll in a chair next to his desk. The doll levitated a number of times. During the ensuing weeks, however, it began showing up in various rooms of the house. When the Warrens were away, they had the Annabelle locked up in an outer office building on their property. They would often return to find it sitting comfortably upstairs in Ed's easy chair when they opened the main front door. The doll also found a hatred towards clergymen who would often visit the house. In one instance, Father Jason Bradford, a Catholic exorcist, came to the house. Upon seeing the doll seated in the chair, he picked it up and said, "You're just a raggedy old Annabelle doll. You can't hurt anyone." He tossed the doll back in the chair, at which point Ed exclaimed, "That's one thing you better not say." Upon leaving an hour later, Lorraine pleaded to the priest to please be careful driving and to call her when he arrived home. A few hours later, Father Jason called Lorraine and told her as he was driving home, he experienced his brakes failing as he entered a busy intersection. He was involved in a near-fatal accident, destroying his vehicle. This was just one of many such events that occurred over the next few years involving the Annabelle doll. The Warrens had a special case built for Annabelle inside their occult museum, where she resides to this day. Since the case was built, Annabelle no longer appeared to move, but she is thought to be responsible for the death of a young man who came to the museum on a motorcycle with his girlfriend. The young man, after hearing Ed's account of the doll, defiantly went up and began to bang on the case, insisting that if the doll could put scratches on people, that he would also like to be the victim of this. Ed said to the young man, "Son, you need to leave," and walked him out of the building. On the way home, the young man and his girlfriend were laughing and making fun of the doll when he suddenly lost control of his motorcycle and went head-on into a tree. The young man was killed instantly, but his girlfriend survived. She was hospitalized for over a year. When asked what happened, the young girl explained they were just laughing about the doll when he had suddenly lost control of the motorcycle. Ed warned, "You do not challenge evil, that no man is more powerful than Satan." So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Library and the story of the Annabelle doll. If you guys did, be sure to comment down below, like the video, And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Until the next time, catch you guys later.
Yeah.
Peace.